Coming up, biking across the country for a cause.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. 13 Western Kentucky University students from the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity are nearly 3,000 miles into a bike trek across the country. Today, they made it to the mountains. It's a yearly tradition for the fraternity, but as WYMT's Keaton Hall explains from Leslie County, it's about much more than just the memories.
Coast to coast, 3,400 miles with just 2 trucks and a trailer.
It's been a lot harder than I was expecting, especially from the mental aspect. I think everybody knew coming into the trip that it was going to be hard physically. I mean, we're biking across the country.
Drew Trapp is part of the group of 13 Western Kentucky University students biking from San Francisco to Virginia Beach.
It absolutely has been a bonding experience because we spend just about every minute of every day together for 70 days straight.
But the summer-long ride is about more than making memories. It's about helping to preserve them.
One of the most interesting things has been hearing people's stories as it relates to Alzheimer's. And so many people have been impacted, and that's irrespective of where they're from or where they have been. That's what's kind of neat, is it's brought us all together through the hardship and through the different things that we've experienced through this disease.
This is the 10th year Bike for Alz has made the cross-country trip, raising money for Alzheimer's research. A journey with personal significance for several of the riders.
Alzheimer's is kind of ran in my family. My great-grandmother had Alzheimer's disease, and one of the big reasons why I did the ride personally was one of my best friends from high school. His grandmother actually just died last summer from Alzheimer's.
Monday, the group stopped for the night at Big Creek Missions in Hyden, a little more than 500 miles from the finish line and a long way from San Francisco.
One thing was biking across the Golden Gate Bridge. I think that's probably one of the memories that I'm going to have with me forever.
The journey of a lifetime, in the hopes of one day making sure no journey is forgotten. Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
Bike for Alz riders are hoping to raise $150,000 for Alzheimer's research this year. If you would like to help them reach that goal, you can find more information on our website, WYMT.com. We now know the name of the driver killed in a truck crash on Interstate 75 in Whitley County this morning. Troopers say 58-year-old Russell Helton of Woodbine was driving a 2002 GMC pickup when he lost control of his truck, causing it to leave the road and flip near the 23-mile marker. Helton was pronounced dead at the scene by the Whitley County coroner. The rainy weather today caused several crashes on I-75 in Laurel County. Corbin firefighter Nathan Kirby says the #1 factor for crashes on rainy days is that people drive the same way on a wet road as they do on a dry one.
Following too closely and going too fast. So when the road's dry, they say to have a 2-second following distance between the vehicle in front of you. When the road's wet, you want to increase that to about an 8 or 9-second following distance.
If you do find yourself hydroplaning, remember to always let your foot off the gas and allow your car to naturally regain traction.
Well, the rain for the most part, thank goodness, is gone. Even though we do need a little rain, we don't need the flooding issues. We had a couple of flash flood warnings earlier tonight. The good news is we haven't seen many reports of flash flooding around the region, and we'll get the opportunity to dry out before more showers and storms try to move in. The story tonight is going to be the fog. You don't see it here from our Pikeville Medical Center camera. In fact, we still see the city lights at this hour. That's not the case just to the south. High knob camera UVA-wise, we still have raindrops on the camera lens and those low clouds and that fog reflecting the city lights, as it were, at least the town lights of Wise, and we're sitting at 65. Visibilities around the region, just 0.3 of a mile in Logan, 0.5 mile in Pikeville, 4 miles in Harlan and Somerset. Other areas 10 miles. Those are at airports, maybe not necessarily reflecting what it's like in those river valleys. Temperatures today got up into the middle and upper 70s to near 80. Jonesville got up to 86 before the rain arrived. Many of us still in the upper 60s to near 70 at this hour. With a little bit of rain still left to go in portions of southwest Virginia, that's about it. We'll continue to dry things out tonight as we head through the remainder of tonight. So those showers and storms diminishing, upper 60s to near 70 for tonight. The very latest, though, on when we could see a few more try to rumble their way in the region. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. An undercover drug investigation took a dangerous turn this morning as officers were trying to stop a drug trafficking suspect. Police worked for several days on a case to buy a large amount of meth, expecting the suspects to come to Laurel County with at least a pound. They were spotted near exit 49 just off Interstate 75, but when they tried to stop the car, officers say the driver rammed a cruiser, then another cruiser got into a crash. They say the driver held two others in the car at gunpoint for hours. Meanwhile, a dozen people inside the nearby gas station were shuffled into a back room while the gunman was talked into surrendering.
Using the tactics that we've learned through the negotiations and the schools that we attend, we deployed all those tactics. However, we did have our SRT or SWAT team on standby in case things went a different direction.
No one was hurt, including the officers in the cruisers that were hit, the people in the car, and in the store. Police did take all three into custody, but they have not released any names at this point. A judge is expected to rule this week on Kentucky's abortion ban. The ACLU and the Attorney General's office had until today to submit briefs over a temporary injunction. Right now, a restraining order remains in effect, allowing abortions to continue. It's a block on the state's trigger law that banned abortions once the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The ACLU filed a lawsuit challenging the ban, saying it violated the state's constitution. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says it does not. If the judge grants the temporary injunction, abortions will still be allowed until the lawsuit is heard. In neighboring West Virginia, abortion services can now resume at the Mountain State's only clinic. A circuit judge granted a temporary injunction blocking the enforcement of West Virginia's 1800s-era ban on abortion. The sides disagree on whether the old law can coexist with modern statutes passed since Roe v. Wade. The judge pointed to a felony murder statute and contrasted it with the 1849 abortion ban, which carried a much lighter sentence.
In today's world, it is simply too vague to be applied. The people of West Virginia would have no way to know which set of statutes a particular law enforcement agency or county prosecutor would choose to apply, and this is a result that cannot stand.
The Women's Health Center of West Virginia, the state's only abortion clinic, praised the ruling and announced it would resume abortion services. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey announced the state will appeal this afternoon's ruling as soon as possible. The city of Pikeville is suing Suddenlink after years of discussions and concerns regarding the company's service to customers in the city. A lawsuit filed last week claims the company has yet to make any moves toward fixing issues the city brought up years ago, reporting the company to be responsible for $1.2 million in damages. Officials say the franchise is only for cable, but internet is also a concern, so they are working with another company to offer a better option.
It's so important for the future of Pikeville and the future of this region that people have reliable, high-speed internet so they can have an online business if they want that, or they can work from their home if they want to do that.
Suddenlink's parent company shared a statement about the lawsuit saying, quote, "We are in compliance with our franchise agreement and are committed to providing excellent service to the residents and businesses of Pikeville. We have met with and been responsive to various requests from the City Commission where we have proposed to meet specific service metrics to demonstrate ongoing compliance. We continue to welcome the opportunity to discuss the city's substantive response to our proposal and engage on a plan that prioritizes our customers receiving superior services." Kentucky's newest tool to help mental health is now online. Today, the governor announced the official launch of the new 988 Mental Health Crisis Hotline. The hotline is part of a national effort to move away from the 10-digit suicide prevention line. That number is still working during the nationwide transition. Callers will be connected to a trained mental health professional who can either assist with mental health crises or connect that person directly to a professional who can help.
You know, I don't think twice. If I fall and I think something's broken, I pick up the phone and I call 911. I know police, fire, EMS, whomever I need is going to be there and they're going to respond. We haven't had that for mental health emergencies in our communities before, but guess what? We have that now.
988 went live in Kentucky over the weekend, and the governor says at least 220 Kentuckians have already dialed it. The Harlan City Fire Department will soon see a change in leadership following the retirement of longtime Fire Chief Lynette Hutchison. Hutchison has served as Harlan City Fire Chief for 22 years and was one of the first female fire chiefs in the region. Hutchison says while being chief has not always been easy, she hopes her legacy can inspire other women to take on leadership roles in male-dominated fields.
Just because I'm a female doesn't mean I can't do stuff, you know. And that's why I stuck with it, you know. I wasn't going to let anybody beat me down.
Hutchison will officially retire at the end of the month. Deputy Chief James Billings is set to become the next fire chief, and Billings says he has big shoes to fill. The closest homeless shelters for folks in Hazard are in Floyd and Breathitt counties. To fill that gap, the nonprofit organization Freedom House hopes to open a shelter again in Perry County. The lack of a shelter means the homeless population is exposed to the elements. The Freedom House executive director says a local shelter would not only protect them from extreme temperatures, but give them the chance to get back on their feet.
You know, there is a need. We're not going to be a permanent solution for homeless people. Ours will not be a shelter that they will come to, prop their feet up, and here I am. We're going to be a bridge, the go-between.
Hanlon says he hopes to have a shelter open soon, but he is waiting for enough grant money to provide one. Governor Andy Beshear ceremoniously signed 6 bipartisan bills today in the state's capital. One of those bills was Senate Bill 164. It created the Imagination Library of Kentucky. The program, started by country music legend Dolly Parton, sends a book every month to a child up to 5 years. Imagination Library is a free program. Parents just have to register their child to start getting the books in the mail.
Children all around Kentucky will have free access to books, also contributing to addressing that literacy rate and expanding our kids' minds, creating innovation and lowering educational attainment gaps.
To sign your child up for Imagination Library, you can go to imaginationlibrary.com/Kentucky. Across the Commonwealth, we may owe some of our economic prosperity to the alpaca industry. Kentucky is home to about 4,000 alpacas that produce cashmere-like fleece. That fleece and fiber helps our economy grow. This is why Kentucky's Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles signed a proclamation naming the month of July Kentucky's Fleece and Fiber Month. There are more than 200 alpaca farmers in Kentucky. A car show this week in Laurel County will focus on electric vehicles. Nonprofit electric automobile group Evolve KY is working with the London Rotary Club to host its second electric vehicle ride and drive event. Electric pickup trucks will highlight this year's show. The event is this Wednesday at the Somerset Community College's Laurel North campus in London. It's from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the push to ensure school safety continues nationwide. We'll show you how students in one West Virginia district will have a new layer of protection when they return this fall.
Plus, we have rain chances in the forecast this week, but plenty of dry time too, pinpointing the most likely time for both. Coming up next.
Do you know the signs of stroke? It's Be Fast. Balance, eyes, face, arms,